Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. I can't find myself on the screen. This is the Caring View, the online social care chat show, available on YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, you name it, we're probably there. So give us a like, give us a follow, give us a subscribe. Views tonight are of our own and not the companies we represent. And usually there's a couple of guests on with the show. However, tonight we have got, it's like, is it the Waltons, that old sitcom where they all used to have their boxes, or was it the Brady? It's something like that, isn't it? It's a little weird tonight, but it's going to be great. We're talking about self-care tips. How do we look after, number one, numero uno, how do we take care of ourselves? And the best way to do this is just to get a ton of people together who are experts in their own self-care, because we are all experts in our own self-care, to tell us how they do it themselves. Before we get started, though, I'm going to hand over to our co-host, Mark Tops, to introduce himself and say hello.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I hope you're all okay. I'm a bit scared to say, are you okay, in case you all unmute at once and bombard. But no, I hope you're all okay. Adam, how are you?
I'm crap, if I'm honest, Mark. And, you know, it's ironic that we're doing self-care week in a year. That's just been going from bad to worse for myself. So we've had a tough time. You'll know the sort of stuff that I've been going through recently. And, you know, viewers will know that house buying at the moment is horrendous. I know a lot of you here, my colleagues will know what I've been going through and my car and stuff. But my nan is also now end-of-life care. So a lot of time's been spent with her and looking after her. And in doing so, in looking after everybody else and looking after all of our interests, do you know who I forget to look after? Me. And I think I do look after myself because I have vices. So I'll sit there and I'll eat a bar of chocolate and go, but it's fine because it makes me feel better. Or I'll have a couple of glasses of wine and I'll be like, but it's fine because I'm stressed and it makes me feel better. And I trick myself into that, saying that that's my self-care. Oh, my self-care is a bottle of wine, and we joke about it and we laugh, when actually it's probably the most destructive thing I can do. You know, having a bit of extra chocolate to cheer myself up because of the endorphins is probably one of the least effective things I can do. But I also then just get absolutely fed up and I just think I can't be arsed looking after myself because I'm just exhausted from everything else going on. So I'm counting tonight as therapy. I've got a pen and notepad ready, and I'm hoping to go away and make myself a whole new person this week. So that is how I am. Offload done. How are you?
Yes, not too bad. I'm really pleased that we're doing it tonight. Obviously, it's self-care week, but it seems quite timely. I think over LinkedIn, Twitter, my Facebook, I keep seeing people, and I've done it, you know, share posts, you know, I don't think everybody's kind of 100% fighting fit. There's a lot of flu going around. People just don't seem kind of their usual self. So I think, yeah, a bit like you, I'm really looking forward to kind of hearing the tips tonight. We've also got some pre-recorded videos that we're going to share. Yeah, and just, I hopefully pick up one another's tips, see if there's anything we can do that we like the sound of, and yeah, just boost our own mental health, really.
Spot on. So there are no wrong answers tonight. There are only right answers. And we are going to do this as a bit of a speed dating thing. So I know usually we go from person and we'll have like a conversation together. We're going to go and try bam, 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 bam. You may see people drop off halfway through the show. It's because they don't actually want to be here and we force them to be here and they're running away at their earliest convenience. But the majority of people may stay with us and we may have these conversations moving forwards. We have got the pre-record video, so obviously we can't talk to those people who've given us those messages. So it might be good for us to digest and talk about them as well. So instead of introducing everyone all at once, we're going to introduce people as we bring them in for a conversation. Now, I am quite excited because I have just used this joke, but I'm going to do it again. The call is coming from inside the house. I have my partner with me here tonight. So for those of you who do not know, my wonderful partner of 13 years, Stephen, has joined us tonight. And Stephen isn't in social care, but he's a holistic therapist. So Stephen, please introduce yourself, let us know what you do, and then give us your wisdom around self-care tonight.
Thank you for that. Thank you very much for that wonderful introductory, Adam. I wish you were that nice to me every day. Absolutely a pleasure. Thank you very much for having me. So I'm Stephen, and I co-run. I'm a founder member with my colleague Chris that will probably speak to you after. And we run the Purple Mountain, which is a health and wellbeing centre all the way in the lovely town of Fleetwood, about half an hour away from Blackpool. And we've run the Purple Mountain for the past 13, 14 years. But we've been involved in what I call the spiritual movement or the spiritual work for a very, very long time. So over these years, me and Chris and myself have picked up a few tips. I think the the greatest thing that any of us that can learn really is through our own personal experience and our own journey, and how our own journey inspire us. This is how we learn. We learn through making mistakes, stumbling, falling. But my big passion at this moment in time, part of my work at the Purple Mountain, is promoting a holistic approach to the mind, body, and spirit. And there does seem to be in the world today a huge pandemic of mental health. And it's something that we are very big and passionate about at the Purple Mountain. So we look at things at a very holistic and spiritual perspective when we look at the emotional body, because I feel that sort of the man-made physical aspect of healing, for me personally, has a negative detriment to the body. So we look at things a little bit more spiritual. So when we look at mental health, you find that a lot of people are very much in the mind center. We just have to put the TV on, social media, the internet, the newspapers, everything tries to keep us into the mind. And it's actually when we fall trap into the mind centers where problems often arise. Why so many people suffer from anxiety, depression, sadness. It's because people aren't really fulfilling what they are meant to be doing. Where joy, happiness, even when we use the word work hard, we use this term even growing up. You got to work hard, you got to study hard, you got to work hard to get your rewards. But let's change that language. Let's work through joy. Let's work through happiness. We don't have to work 100 hours a week to kill ourselves. We've got to be happy. And I think that's where we try to promote through very simple free tips. Now, these tips that I'm going to share with everybody are free and simple. They don't cost anything. And it's all about moving back to what we call the heart space. So the heart space is where we find happiness, where we find joy. And that's important. Yes, the mind's important as well, of course, but it's about that balance between the mind, body, and heart. Now, I just want to mention as well, just very quickly, I think a very important word that I would like to share with everybody is that we are moving away from what I call the guru to the inner guru. So for thousands of years, as human beings, we've been looking at leaders, gurus, teachers, inspirers, priests for answers. And we're moving away from that. We're moving more inwardly. So we're searching for answers within. And for me, it's about taking back responsibility. That I'm going to be quite controversial. It's not doctors, nurses' responsibility for our health and well-being. We are responsible for our own health and well-being perspective. Yes, we get inspired by other people. We need guidance and help, and we create sacred spaces like this online platform tonight, or come to the Purple Mountain and we create sound baths and meditation nights and breathwork nights. But ultimately, we must take responsibility for our own well-being and really take charge in a very gentle, nourishing way. And it doesn't have to be hard to look after ourselves. So a big passion of mine is meditation and breath work. Now, breathing is something a lot of us don't do properly, unfortunately. And the tip number one with the breath is what I call observing the breath. And because everybody is so busy, everybody's running around, everybody's got jobs to do, got families to look after, we forget us. And I always say to people, take 15 minutes every day for self-care, self-healing, or whatever that might be. Take responsibility. And one of them is observing the breath. And you can do that when you go for a walk. You can do that in the car. You can do that even on the toilet, in the bath. You can do it anywhere. And observing the breath is all about just quietening the mind, you can do this even with your eyes open, and it's just bringing your attention, bringing your awareness to how you are breathing. And it's a simple technique. Sometimes I just put my hand on my heart, close my eyes, and I just take deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And all I do is just to bring in my awareness to my heart. How does my heart feel? Does it beat really fast? Do I feel anxious? Do I feel scared? So I'm observing how I'm feeling at that moment in time. And that's important because removing our awareness from the mind to the heart, so how we are feeling. And it's actually the emotional body that, when we look at mental health, it's actually the emotional body that we need to tap into. So placing our hands on our heart, observing how we are feeling. You can do that for 2-3 minutes every day, every hour, just quieting the mind, bringing your awareness to how you're breathing and how you're feeling. Another tip, number 2, really quickly, I know my time's coming up, is holding your breath. Holding your breath as you breathe in through the nose. I know some people do have problems with the nasal passage. Then you can do that by breathing in through the mouth. So taking nice deep breath in through the nose, holding your breath for about half a minute, and then pushing the air out through the mouth. Now, what I do to help me with my breathing technique, I do when I go for walks. And I go for walks for 20 minutes, half an hour, 10 minutes, even walking up and down the stairs, even going shopping. I just bring my awareness to my breath. And the breath is important because the breath, remember, we don't breathe with our lungs, we breathe with our abdomen. And that's a misconception. We use the lungs to bring oxygen into the blood, but we breathe through what we call abdominal breathing. So again, removing my hands from my heart and putting on the solar plexus, on the stomach, and just feeling the rise and fall of the stomach. So again, it's all about bringing awareness. And the beauty of all these tips and techniques, they're simple and they're free and they're massively beneficial. Can you imagine all that fresh oxygen coming into the brain? And when you first practice some of these breath work, you'll feel a bit disorientated, you feel a bit dizzy. And that's because that fresh oxygen, that fresh energy is coming up to the brain. And remember, people talk about the health of the heart, the health of the lungs, the health of the liver, the stomach, but people forget about the health of the brain. You know, we've got to look after the brain. So really I could talk for another hour about this amazing topic, but if you would like to know a little bit more about some of the breathing techniques, myself and Chris, we do run also a podcast channel where lots of these techniques, and we do like guided meditations. So please follow us. And thank you very much, Adam and
I'm not entirely sure what's going on there.
Like in each individual person. We're back. Adam.
I honestly thank you so much, Stephen. And everyone must think that I've got it lucky and I can just sit here and do this. Well, I don't listen. That's my problem. Stephen's like the pinnacle of health and drinks all this green stuff in powders and looks after his inner self. And I'm the complete opposite. And I maybe need to start listening. But yeah, if anyone does want to get in touch, they are thepurplemountain.co.uk. And if anyone wants us to do a full show on breathing techniques, on self-awareness and how we can calm ourselves and be internal, do let us know and we can look at scheduling one in the new year, because we are fully booked till February, believe it or not, for our episodes, but we will look at doing a show in the new year. So Stephen, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're losing people left, right and center on this stream. Lord knows we've got some gremlins going on. Great topic, nice to hear it being some focus. Yes, self-care is something that really does need the focus going on. We've lost Chris, but I'm sure he will be back. So Mark, where are we going to next?
Yes, I just wanted to say, Stephen, I thought that was really inspirational. And spiritual healing, I'll be completely honest, isn't something that I'm too familiar with, but I'm really pleased that you spoke about how we need to change language, because I think you are right. We are brought up that actually you need to study and then go to college or uni, get a job, get married, have kids, blah, blah, blah. And actually the younger generation, the mindset is completely different. And as a sector, we need to get used to actually the different mindset and the different way of thinking. So yeah, really pleased you brought that up. But a lot of love for you in the comments, which is nice. Chris
Thank
is
you.
back.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
So we are going to go to a pre-record video. So Alfie from Kahoot Marketing was going to join us, has double booked himself. But Alfie is all about self-care. And yes, let's play his video.
If you don't know who Alfie is, this is a trigger warning. This is a pre-warning. This is just sit down and absorb what's going to happen. This is Alfie.
Hi, Mark. Hi, Adam. Thanks so much for inviting me to share my self-care tips with you on the Caring View today. Sorry I'm not going to be there in person. I'm doing one of my self-care tips this evening, which is singing in a choir. La 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 la. Singing is so good for the nervous system. It's a great social activity. I do it every week if I can, and it helps me to reset my nervous system, relax, and just stop thinking about all the other stuff in my life. And it's a real nice healing thing to do. The second self-care tip that I've got to share with you is meditation. So I spend 15 minutes every morning when I can sitting, doing nothing, trying to watch my breath while all of the crazy thoughts in my head go round and round and round and round and round. And after 15 minutes, they're at a stage where I can safely look at my emails. And the third tip that I've got is to not take yourself too seriously. As many of you know, I rocked up to the Care Show Recruitment Masterclass dressed as a banana, partly for to make a point, but partly for my own amusement, because you can take yourself too seriously in life. And if you ever forget and start taking yourself really seriously, there'll always be a good friend who will help you to not take yourself so seriously. Anyway, that's my tips. Thanks.
Do you know what I love about that? Is that he is completely right. I think, and Adam, you and I have spoken about this on the show before, that we're all on social media, but actually if you're doing something a bit like Alfie's just done, actually you're really self-conscious of what people are doing, and actually are they, uploading their own video of you just having fun and living your best life. So actually, yeah, it's a really good tip not to take yourself too seriously.
I mean, there's two things I want to say on that. The first thing is his last point about not taking yourselves too seriously. Are you bloody listening, CQC? Because I think that's pretty much aimed at you. Stop taking yourself so blooming seriously. Start having a bit of fun and start having some unfiltered, unscripted conversations with people. Because you know what? You might like it. You might enjoy it. People might have a bit of fun with you. They may be friends with you if you can start, being a little bit more likable. I can't remember what my second point is because I just got so annoyed at CQC whilst thinking about that. But yes, no, I think, singing. Everyone loves singing. How many people do you pass in your cars with your windows up and you can tell you're listening to the same radio station because you can lip sync at the same time and you can see the people singing? We all love singing. Singing's absolutely fab. But it's the meditation that I want to come to because that leads us, it's a nice segue into our next guest, which is Chris Stevenson. So Chris is obviously a partner of Stevens at the Purple Mountain. They are the founders of the Purple Mountain. So Chris, can we come to you, please?
Yes, certainly can. Just want to thank Adam and Mark for the invitation to come on the show. It's always a pleasure to connect in any way to communities and our wider community. So I'll always take the invitation, especially when we're talking about self-care, because I feel it is the number one. If there's anything I've learned, the number one thing I've learned on my spiritual journey, it's the importance of self, and something that's sort of ingrained within us as we grow up is to care for others, which is very, very important. But also in doing that, we must never forget about ourselves. I talk about it as in, if we're taking good care of ourselves, if we're in a happy and fulfilled place, we're looking after our mind and body, then that is going to ripple out to everybody around us, because everyone around us is getting the very best version of us. And of course, I'm from the Purple Mountain as well, and I'm partners in crime with Stephen, and we run the Purple Mountain, and it's volunteer based, and we're just over 10 years old now. But what I want to share with you is these wonderful tips that I'm sure you'll hear more of tonight. And I want to speak about meditation. And there's many more techniques and wonderful techniques out there, many varied techniques. But something I just want to touch on first is that the miracle is not out there waiting for you to solve everything. The miracle is already within you. So, and you can find something that will enhance that, will resonate with you, that will help that miracle grow, that spark within you grow. But I just want everyone to know that that miracle, that gift is already within you. You're all unique and wonderful beings out there, truly. But when we talk about meditation, sometimes many can find it quite daunting. Many will say, I can't meditate, I don't have the time, my mind wanders. So I'm hoping to keep it quite simple and sort of entice everyone into trying meditation. And meditation is very simple. As our friend said on the last video, it's simply taking time out and sitting in the silence. And if you have a willingness to do this, whether it's once a week, once a day, for 5 or 10 minutes, then you're going to get there. You're going to do it. So if we start with that willingness and we set our place, so a room you're most comfortable with in your home, you can try different rooms and just see how that works for you. Now, you don't have to meditate for an hour. You don't have to be a Zen master to meditate. It can be 5 minutes, 10 minutes to start. You can sit in a room, light a candle, create a nice atmosphere, play some music that you're comfortable with, whatever you like listening to. And I know it's been touched on about singing, and music is a powerful vibration. Now, some like to meditate in the silence as well, which is absolutely fine. It's whatever works for you. So I'm only trying to be a bit of a guide for you here, but once you find your way, you might change things, which is wonderful. So it's a journey in itself. So we set the place we're going to meditate. We make the room nice and comfortable. Now, Stephen talked about the breath, which is important because it can calm us down as we close our eyes, taking a few gentle breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And that can assist in just settling and removing any tension or stress. Now, quite often, thoughts of the mind can come in at this stage, and meditation is, in its sense, going to assist us in coming away from that mind space that so many can find dominates them at the moment and can give you a headache or cause stress, and just balancing that out with thoughts of the heart, your gut feelings. Now, if thoughts come up, i.e. shopping list, things like that, when you meditate, which is natural, you're going to get these thoughts. Now, it's most important, don't try push them out, because that's going to work against things. Let them just work the ways. If you're thinking about your shopping list, if you're thinking about decorating your front room and what sort of paper you want, just let that thought process run its course naturally. Go with the flow, because that's the hardest thing sometimes for us. If I was to tell everybody now, you need to do 3 things to meditate perfectly, I'm sure you'd all be willing to give it a try. But the hard one is going with the flow of the river, just letting go, giving ourselves that space, and know that the stressful situations that are causing you trouble in your life, or things that you're struggling to get your head around, you can step back for that moment and take a breath. And meditation's an excellent way to do so. Now, also, I know that it's been mentioned about if you have a busy house. I just want to mention this quickly, that another wonderful thing you can do as well is also taking a walk amongst nature as well. That's a wonderful way. So if you have a big family and you struggle to find a space, perhaps go for a walk, 5-10 minutes again, any little thing you can do. Now, also, we're meditating, which is an excellent technique, is guided meditations. Now, they're wonderful. They're available on many, many different media platforms for absolutely free. And there's so many, so you could give those a try as well. And they can be 5 minutes or 10 minutes long, those guided meditations. And the benefits of meditation. So you might be saying, why should I meditate? Well, meditation is taking time out for yourself to relax the mind, the body, and the spirit. It can help in removing tension that can exaggerate pain that is already in the body. So, for instance, if we have a bad back, then if we're feeling very stressed, that bad back will feel much worse than it already was. So in meditating and taking those moments just to breathe, it can just remove that tension and bring a little bit of calm to the body. Perhaps thoughts that you've been having, that you've been mulling over, will just calm, and you get that bit of clarity and go, there it was all along. All I needed to do was just take a few breaths, calm the body, and the answers just come in and they align. So sooner than sitting there and mulling over these things and allowing ourselves to fall into a little bit of a hole, we can take that time and say, I would recommend what time of day works for you as well, whether that's the morning, the afternoon, the evening. Meditate before bed is excellent if you have sleep problems as well. You can sit up when meditating, you can lie down, you can lie down on your couch. I like to do that sometimes and just cover yourself with a nice warm blanket and relax. And so do it the way that works for you. Okay. And if you set a time, which is really important as well, so you might say 7 o'clock every evening, I'm going to have 5 to 10 minutes of meditation. And if you set that, it is like a discipline, like going to a yoga class or anything else, and you're going to feel the benefits. But please, if you're going to try this, go easy on yourself. So many of us are ready to punish ourselves, which I feel is, really important to mention that we can only try our best at any one time. We're all living and learning. So you're going to make mistakes. We're going to get things wrong, but we live and we learn all the time. So all I would say with meditation is enjoy the journey. There's also mantras that you can do as well, if that's going to work for you, where you repeat certain things, self-love, that's going to build that energy, that self-love within you, and you're going to feel absolutely great after. So all I want to say, my friends, is enjoy your journey into meditation. If you want to know more about it, you're welcome to connect with us at the Purple Mountain or our Collective Awakening podcast. And thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed that.
Honestly, Chris, absolutely fantastic. And I'm thinking to myself, actually, I think we do need to do a full show on meditation, breathworks, and what have you. We might even do a 20-minute guided med at the end of it, and take people through, because it's late evening when our show comes to an end, people getting tucked up into bed. Maybe they'll do a 20-minute guided med instead of a double whiskey that evening, or, you never know. We may do some people some benefits. Yes, Primrose, we all do love a double whiskey. I saw your face just then. Oh, thank you so much, Chris, for joining us. Mark.
Yes. No, I love that. Thank you very much, Stephen and Chris. I appreciate your time. And I know you've got to jump for your own podcast, so thank you very much. So we're going to jump over to a pre-record now. So who shall we go to? I think we go to Paul. I know we've spoken about music, and Alfie spoke about music, and we've heard about how singing is good for you. And Paul was joining us tonight, but is actually watching the Backstreet Boys. And for anybody that follows Paul, I can imagine that he is stood up in the crowd right now, singing along. So let's go over to Paul and see what he has to say.
I also think, and not to get too sort of twee here, I also think it's important that we do mention Aaron Carter tonight if we're talking about the Backstreet Boys and bringing them up, because self-care is so important. And no matter what you do in life, no matter the cards you've been dealt, please just look after yourself, because life is crap and it can be difficult. And we need to make sure we look after ourselves as much as possible. And it's a shame that sometimes it takes big profile stars who don't have the best of lives and don't have the best of deaths to remind us this. So, much love to Nick and his family tonight as well. And no doubt Paul's probably there topless right now, because that's what Paul does. So yeah, let's hear from Paul.
Hi, I'm Paul, and a little tip for you on Self-Care Week. If you are someone that's very busy, always here, there, and everywhere doing things for everyone else, just remember you've got to take some time for yourself. We all need that moment just to relax, be within ourselves, and not be disturbed. So read, listen to podcasts, go for a 15-minute walk. Just make sure you pencil some time in the diary for you. If you are not right, then you will not be able to lead others in the right direction. So self-care starts with you, hence the reason why it's called Self.
I think what we're hearing a lot tonight, and to reassure people that are watching, that actually we're hearing a lot of take time for you, and that's what it's all about, is taking time for you. And like Adam said at the beginning, there is no wrong, there's no right answer. It's whatever you find, relaxes you and is good for your mental health.
And it's about, not feeling selfish. It's not selfish to look after yourself. It's not selfish to take time for yourself. It's not selfish to think about yourself. Yeah, I'm overwhelmed with all the tips so far tonight, but I'm going to come back to the room now. I'm going to come to Primrose. So Primrose, please enlighten us. Introduce yourself and tell us what your self-tips are for your self-care. Let's learn from you.
Hi, Mark and Adam. Thank you so much for allowing me to be on the show today. My self tip is quite simple because I'm a mom, and I'm a working mom. And sometimes being a working mom, you find that, you spend most of your time doing things for your first thought is always the children, is always other people. So over the years, I have learned to have a principle of do unto others as you want them to do unto you. So if it means that I'm gonna go shopping, if my thought is I'm gonna go shopping and buy something for my child, that thing that I'm doing for them, that should I also deserve the same thing. So I have over time found that if even the simplest of things, like lighting a candle, buying, I like to shop. Those who know me know that I love to shop. And sometimes when Adam said that it's not selfish, I would go into a shop and I would spend on me because I deserve it. Because at the end of the day, you are working hard, you are doing all these things to ensure that everybody else is okay. So you deserve it back. So, I look at myself in the mirror and I tell myself that you deserve it. You deserve that handbag. You deserve that dinner. You deserve that, alone time by yourself. I deserve it. I tell my family that this is time for me to switch off. It's me time now. I'm going on a date night by myself. And I sit on the table and I drink on my non-alcoholic wine, Adam. And I enjoy myself because that is self-care. Being able to tell yourself that you deserve it. You deserve all the love that you're pouring out of yourself. You deserve it back. And sometimes it's not about expecting it from other people. It's about just saying, looking yourself in the mirror and saying, well, I'm in control of my health. I'm in control of my happiness, and I deserve to be happy. So, yeah, that's just my tip for the day to say, allow yourself to deserve the finer things that you give onto others. Lastly, I just wanted to say that at the end of the day, what we need to remember is when we're taking care of other people, it's going to be us sitting in that seat one day. And you don't want to then sit in that seat wondering, what more could I have done? What more could I have received? You want to sit there and think to yourself, do you know what? It's now my turn to receive. I said, I can't wait to be an old lady. I can't wait to be being taken care of, because I will be making them run around mad because I deserve it. But yeah, thank you.
I mean, come on, let's not wish your life away just yet, Primrose. Let's enjoy our youth a little bit longer. I mean, I'm going to come to Nicola quickly, just because I know you've got kids and I've met your kids. And does any of that resonate with you, Nicola?
Most definitely. It's one of the, you're running around, you're doing everything for everybody else that you actually forget. And sometimes you've got the mum guilt. And the mum guilt is like, oh, it is horrendous. So if you've had a really busy week at work, so for instance, you've been working away, you're not being at home, and then you've got an opportunity to go have a night out with your friends or with your husband or to do something. And that guilt of actually spending the days off that you have got off, not with your family, but actually is beneficial for you, has a massive impact. And actually, the kids are probably going to have a brilliant time with the grandparents and wherever they're going. So actually, they're not losing out. They're actually spending time with family and having that mindset to switch that around and treating yourself as well. So, for instance, if the kids ask for something, you're more than happy to go and pay for it. If it's the birthday treat, but when it comes to you, like £30 for a top, oh, I don't know about that. And you start questioning what you're spending. And that's hard. It is hard to spring out of it. But yeah, a lot of that really is very, very true for working parents.
So, Mark, over to you.
Yes, a lot of people in the comments agreeing and loving your advice, Primrose. So thank you very much for sharing that. We're going to go back to a pre-record. So we're going to join Paula Cashmere. It's a shame she can't join us tonight. So she's in the process of transferring internet providers. So he sent us a pre-record, but I'd actually love to know whether actually, when you don't have internet, and we all have to say that we're going to go away and zone out and turn off our social media and turn off our internet, and if all of you and people watching are anything like me, I can probably do a day and then the FOMO kicks in and I'm straight back to the phone. But Paula has been without internet now stable internet now for a few weeks, if not a couple of months. So I'd love to know whether her self-care has got better where she doesn't have internet compared to when she did. But yes, let's go over to see what Paula has to say.
Hello, my tip for self-care is remember it's your self-care. You get to decide what works for you. You can listen to everything or nothing. Just find something that works for you. I would say when you're out of work, don't think about work and definitely don't catastrophize. Find a nice sanctuary place in your house, in your garden, by the local stream, in the bathroom, in the conservatory, somewhere that you can go to relax. Bottle of Prosecco, hot chocolate. For me, it's a coffee and cream that's just a taste of luxury. Just go there 10 minutes, 15 minutes and reset, relax, really switch off. Whether you do that once a day, twice a day, once a month, whatever works for you, just reset. And remember, if it is feeling too much, to reach out. There are people there that will listen and people there that will give advice.
I love that advice, that there are people there and just reach out. And I think that's one thing that LinkedIn has created, is that actually there's so many of us working in the sector that are collaborating, and actually so easily just to pop a post or drop a message to each other. Lucy, I want to come to you for your thoughts, especially around don't think about work when you're not in work, because I saw your post today where you spoke about actually that you've reduced your workload for your own mental health. And obviously now you're in a place where you can pick up more work. So yeah, just wanted to come in and speak to you about your thoughts on that.
Thanks, Mark. Well, a couple of months ago, I had quite a horrible health scare. So it wasn't just for my mental well-being, it was actually for my physical well-being, because I was physically unable to work. And the journey I was going on, there was no way that I could have done my job. So I decided to prioritise me. And this is something I learnt to do 4 years ago, when I've spoken about my journey before. I went through a very difficult time. I had my daughter seriously ill and my mum was seriously ill at the same time, and I had to juggle the two. And I learned then that I had to prioritise me. And it doesn't matter what you do, as long as you find somewhere to prioritise you, whether that's that you bake, whether that's you walk the dog, whether that's that you light your smelly candle and you soak in the bath. But it's really important that you prioritise you. And that journey I've been on has led me to kind of where I'm at now. So echoing what Stephen and Chris said earlier about language, we are exposed to so much stuff. We grow up, we're told you have to do this or you have to do that. They say you work hard. So actually, when we think about that, it's meant to be difficult for me to have done a good day at work. So I spend my time listening to the language that people use and how that then impacts us. So one of the ways that we can prioritise us is to think consciously and to be conscious in how we talk and to be kind to ourselves. So I think that's simple things like, if you're having a bad day, you're having a bad day, and it's about being honest with that and that reality, not denying it. And also, being aware that society, Mark was saying about how things are changing with younger generations. Those of us that find it less easy, mums, where the midwife gives you a baby, they also give you a bag of guilt at the same time, which you don't necessarily see coming, It's about looking at that. And if that's something that you can do on your own, then great. But if not, then work with somebody else. And also realise that you have got all the resources inside of you. It just might be that you just can't actually access them at that point in time. So find anything that might be good for you. So what I'm doing is I've taken some time out, and I'm actually spending the next 5 days in trance. So I'm off to train to be a hypnosis trainer over the next 5 days. And that's because I'm prioritising my evolution, my growth, my education. I'm prioritising my business because it's going to give me the opportunity to have more opportunity to do stuff. But also it's saying I'm worthy of taking that time out. I'm worthy of spending that money on me. And I'm worthy of spending 5 days in trance and being super relaxed.
Oh, I love those tips, Lucy. And there's so much from you and Paula to digest there. I mean, just to go to Paula quickly, there is a comment in the chat. is relaxing on the toilet seat a man thing? I will say, you know, maybe after watching this show, we should stop chastising our partners if they are taking 20, 30 minutes in the bathroom. It's their self-care time. You know, if that might be their self-care zone. So yes, let's look after them. And the other important thing I just want to touch on from Paula before I come to yourself, Lucy, is the non-catastrophizing. You know, let's not blow things up in our heads. The amount of times I'm going to sleep and I think, but this is going to happen, and then I'm going to talk about that, and then you get yourself so angry. We've all had those arguments with ourselves in the shower, haven't we? It's been absolutely pointless. It wastes our energy. So, Lucy, taking this time out, going to do your trance and focusing on yourself, I just really want to know, how has it been so far? Because how are you approaching it? Is there any worries you've got about taking this time out that you've had to work through? So it's great to take the self-care time, but then I would then get worried about taking time. So how do you?
I have massive worries. I have massive worries because ultimately, financially, it's impacted my business. But I was faced with something that was really difficult, and I had no choice. And obviously, I don't want to share that, but what it could have been, let's just say, was a hell lot scarier than thinking, actually, money's going to be tight for a few months. And I think it's about putting things in perspective. And what you were just saying about over catastrophizing stuff, it's about being here today, present, and I'm going to worry about tomorrow when it comes, because I can't change it then. I can control me, and by controlling me, I'll influence stuff around me. You know, I can ask for help. I can, you know, talk to people. I can look at different resources. I can change the way I work for a little while. You know, I can pick up a contract if I want to. But I can't do that if I'm not well enough to do that. And I can't do that if those naughty little dragons in my head are tap dancing too loudly. And I've learned to do that. Obviously, you know, not only being a nurse, but having gone through a very difficult journey where my own daughter struggled terribly with her own mental health, but also now being a coach and a, you know, neuro-linguistic programming trainer, I've got those resources, so I'm able to put all of the tools and the techniques that I have learned into practice. But having said that, even though I know all of that, I still find it less easy at times. But did you see what I did then? I said it was less easy. Because my brain is always listening.
Absolutely. And I love the fact that you're taking time for yourself, and actually knowing you're going to reinvest that back into people working in health and social care and actually support others, which is really nice as well. So,
and it's been really good because it's given me opportunity to reevaluate where I want to go and what I want to do. And that's also about acknowledging my purpose and where that aligns. And I think, you know, we get raised with being told you go to work, you do a job, and then you end up retiring. And it's like, well, hang on a minute. You know, we're seeing a heck of a lot of people today prioritizing themselves because their values are changing. And they're actually saying, no, I'm important. And we've not been raised to be that way. I mean, I've raised my kids to be that way. So there's that different generation, isn't there? But certainly if I look at previous generations, and certainly I wasn't raised to value me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's like we spoke about earlier, it's actually times are changing and we need to change with them. I'm conscious of time. Thank you very much, Lucy, for those inputs. We're going to go to another pre-record, and this time we're going to hear from Victoria.
Hello, and welcome to another episode on The Caring View. My name is Victoria Oladasu, and I'm here to give you some quick self-care tips to celebrate Self-Care Week 2022. The first, for physical self-care, I make sure that I get enough sleep and turn off the TV at an appropriate time. For my mental health, I make sure that I take walks where I can just distress, listen to music, and enjoy nature. For social self-care, I always have something to do. I'm always ready to meet up with friends, go see a movie, or even volunteer in my local church. For emotional self-care, I practice saying yes and no as it favors me. I set boundaries, and I'm able to quickly ask for help when I need it. And lastly, for my spiritual self-care, I am a Christian. I do rely on religion. I pray, I attend church.
Oh, she cut short for some reason. But I think Victoria raised some really good points that we haven't heard so far and around. One is around sleep and making sure that you actually get enough sleep per night. And also around religion. And actually, I think that's one thing that is often overlooked, and especially if you're not religious, that you don't really consider or think about. So, yeah, some great tips there from Victoria. Adam, back to you.
I like the fact that Victoria also broke it down for us as well. So, you know, we will sit here and go self-care, and this is what self-care is to us, but she's gone, actually, this is what I do for my physical self-care, and then this is what I do for my emotional self-care. It's not just a one-stop sort of thing, is it? Actually, it is a breakdown thing, and we do need to think that I do need to look at my emotional self-care. I do need to put those boundaries up, and I do need to have that sort of distance from things and the spiritual self-care. Hands up on here if we turn our TV off too late at night. It's incredible, isn't it? I mean, I must say that I sleep with white noise in, and it's usually, I don't know, a Star Trek episode, because that's the only way I can get to sleep. And I'm sure I should meditate, but I don't, because it's the easy way out. But I know, I think some really great tips from Victoria there. Dudley, I'm going to come to yourself. Anything that you want to pick up from Victoria?
I love the fact she broke it down as well. I think it's important. I love the other element of actually going out and having fun. We know Paul's at the Backstreet Boys concert, but I think actually going out at some point, even if you book once a month, regardless of if you've got children, you're busy in your lifestyle, just actually taking that time out is really important. And the other thing I think that we found during the pandemic is actually keeping in touch with others. I think having a group of friends, whether or not on WhatsApp or through other means, just being in touch with its family, I think it's important. And one thing I've found as well is actually being kind to people. People are kind back, and it's actually sharing that good nature and spirit, asking how people are, it comes back. I think it's really wonderful in this day and age how we just forget. There's a lot of people being grumpy, upset, you know, the world hasn't been great, but actually trying to have a positive smile and keeping that afloat really helps. As we saw with Alfie, it's infectious, and not taking yourself that seriously can play a part. I think one of the things I always say now to people when I am speaking around is I give them this tip of act fly, and everyone thinks of me, oh, well, I'm not cool or anything like that, but act fly is an acronym which says first look after yourself. So tell people to act fly. I think it really means something. So just make that be one of the first things you do, and we can all act fly as well amongst all of us. So yeah, that would be one of my major tips, as well as diet and sleep as well.
I feel like that's a personal attack, because I need to act fly, I need to sleep, and I need to diet. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like holding a mirror up to me this evening. I feel like Mulan, from the Disney film. You're like, who is that girl looking back at me? I can't stand my own reflection. I think those are really great tips, Dudley. And I think it's really great to be able to cling on to a phrase as well, something that is catchy and a little bit fly. It's a little bit cool. It's a little bit, it gets people engaged. I'm just looking at our chat going on behind the scenes as well, in our little naughty green room, where we're all having a conversation as the show's going on, and we're talking about the phone and how deadly the phone is. It is dangerous. And Mark, I just want to say, Liza Minnelli lies. You could not do one full 24-hour day without your phone and social media. I'm calling that now. And I think if anyone wants to see Mark do a sponsored 24-hour without his phone and social media, then we'll do some money raising. I'm confident on that. I'm terrible as well. TikTok is my kryptonite.
Yes, looking at the chat, it does look like TikTok is everybody's vice. And Lucy has just downloaded it, and we're all warning her to undownload it, because it's definitely one of those things that sucks you in, and before you know it, you're looking at it for hours. I can do 24 hours, but yeah, much more than that. Yeah, probably is the notifications keep coming. Yeah, I know that. Lee, let's come to you for your self-care top tips.
Cool. So my first self-care tip comes with a quote. So almost everything works again if you unplug it, including yourself. So I think my biggest tip is just having a period of being unplugged, go for a walk in nature. But I think we need to look at self-care as being something that we're more disciplined with, because we always say that if you don't love yourself, how can anyone else love you? And it's the same for self-care. If you don't look after yourself, then why will anyone else do it? So I also like to journal as well, like to write the thoughts down, write the day down, and just be able to, reflect on how the day's gone. So those are my two. Like to do a little bit of meditation, but it's just about finding that thing that works for you. There's no one size fits all in anything well-being related. If it's sort of going into a cave and screaming that makes you feel better, then do that. Invite me, because that sounds fun. But just finding something that works for you, just doing it. And also being able to say no without needing to explain yourself, because too many people say no and then also obsess over the reasons. They've got to give people reasons for saying no. Yeah, it's not selfish to prioritize yourself.
Thank you very much. And yeah, like someone's just said in the chat, everybody loves a good scream. So yeah, go find a cave, a tunnel, and yeah, let one off. Lucy, for you joining TikTok, you'll see plenty of people screaming, so you'll be fine there. Journaling. I've seen a lot of people posting about journaling. It's not something I personally do. Do any of the other guests here journal at all? Faye, we'll bring you in if you unmute. How do you find journaling? And then we'll speak to you.
Yeah, I love journaling. Oh, it's just, I started doing it about 2 years ago. And at first it was like, what am I doing? And I ended up writing like to-do lists. And it was really strange and it was really like transactional and weird. But now it's like all my thoughts and emotions, because I spend a lot of time on my own, and it's good to just like thought dump and just get loads of different things out of it. And I like to do different kind of journals at different times of the day. So like on a morning, it's really nice to like write things you're grateful for. And it's a lovely way to start your day. Like, oh God, yeah, life's awesome. It's not that shit actually. And then on a night, you know, just plan for the next day and think about what you've achieved. And it's just lovely. It's great. Even when it's not great, it's good to get it out. That was one of my self-care tips actually. So
he's stolen it from you. So
yeah, well, I've got plenty more.
Lee, do you journal just in the evenings, or are you like Faye, do you journal in the mornings as well? Or how have you found it's working for you?
Generally in the evenings. I think it's very sort of therapeutic. Just getting the thoughts down there and being able to reflect on the day. Weirdly enough, I also find ironing really therapeutic and relaxing, which the missus doesn't mind because it means to do all the ironing in the house. But yeah, just taking the crinkled shirt and then into nice and perfect. There's just something, quite relaxing about it. So like I say, we all have our own ways to relax and look after ourselves.
I'm sure there's many people in your village or town that will happily send their shirts to you, Lee, to iron, and you'll be up to your heart's content.
Hashtag side hustle.
Definitely. Adam, over to you.
Sorry, I'm still stuck on people who are, master bakers and all of that sort of stuff that goes on. There's so much that we get told in the work that we do. Yes, Dudley, shower thoughts. Dudley's also mentioning, a good shower or bath is self-care. And now I am telling you, I am intimate with my bath. I am intimate. I have candles. I have bubbles. I have no cold water, so it lasts as long as possible. I turn all my lights off in the house because I think if anything's going to go psycho, I don't care because I'm in a perfect space to die. This is going to be amazing if someone breaks into my house because I'm in my bath. Baths are super important. If you've got a house that doesn't have a bath, you don't have self-care. Get a bath. But yes, bath shower thoughts, I think, are 100%. Screaming rooms, I just want to say, I'm thinking for our next social care evening, instead of going out for drinks and food, why don't we go to one of them therapy rooms where you go and just break porcelain and bash walls and scream and release all this inner sort of anguish and anger? I think that might be a must. I think we should have a look at arranging a social care screaming therapy day. It reminds me of Donnie Darko with Drew Barrymore, and she teaches Jake Gyllenhaal, doesn't she, to scream. Sorry, Swifties, if you do not like Jake. I'm going to come back to Faye because you do have more tips to share with us. So what are some of your other tips for us, and obviously tell us where you're from, because you are on your own venture now as well. So please shout about that at the same time.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, I'm on my own venture as of yesterday. I started my own business, which is super exciting. Supplying interim managers and care consultants into the care sector, believe it or not. So yeah, that's really exciting. So I've been on this like self-care journey for the last couple of years. I've gone from self-sabotaging and being really unhealthy and living just not giving a crap about myself, to be honest, to then working from home during the pandemic and having loads of time to myself. I don't have children. I've got a husband, but he does his thing. I do my thing a lot of the time. And I just had loads of time to be like, right, I think it's time to prioritize myself, my health, my mental health, and loads of good things have happened. Like I got diagnosed with ADHD last year, and that's like massively changed my life. I got a really good job, and then 18 months later, now I'm starting my own business. So yeah, great things have come from self-care. So some of my tips, taking a digital detox. So I know we were talking about it earlier, and Mark can only do 24 hours and whatever, but I am addicted to my phone, and I don't know why. I think a lot of us are, aren't we? But deleting the apps from my phone helps me massively. So like 2 weeks ago, I deleted Instagram, and looking at my screen time, I spent like 5 hours a day on it. I don't know where I got that time from, but I do a lot of creating on it. It's not all just scrolling, but with that creating comes comparing yourself to other people, and then it really affects your mental health. So just not having it. And well, now look, I've just set up a business, so that's just me not having Instagram, I think. Deleted LinkedIn yesterday, so I'm just going to have to go on the laptop, and it just makes it like a bit more of an effort to go on the app. So you go on it intentionally rather than just opening the app and scrolling and then going, oh, what are you doing? And Lucy, TikTok, it's just, you'll just get down these deep holes. Maybe just go on it for a week and then go off. So yeah, digital detoxes are just brilliant. So we've spoke a lot about like making time for yourself every day, but that's not always possible, I don't think, for everybody. Or we can feel guilty for doing that. But I like to have like a reset day, whether it's once a month or once a week, and it's just all about me, whether it's like baths and walks and nice stuff like that, or going and getting drunk with friends and just making like one whole day about me and thinking, right, I'm going to be intentional about this day, and it's just about fair. It's a fair day. And I just think that's really, really good for self-care. And I know it's not always possible if you've got kids and work and stuff, but you can make it work, can't you? So yeah, they're my couple of self-care tips.
I just think, I mean, huge congratulations to start off with. Full support for myself. I think it's fantastic. And yeah, I agree with Nicola. Reset day. That reset day is absolutely fantastic. And I know the stuff that we talk about, Faye, as well, that we'd love to be able to talk about more. And there is work that is going on in this world that is going to be so beneficial. It's just trying to tease it out of the clinical side of things. It's trying to get people to open up their minds and hearts and their ideals. And I think that's why I probably resonate with Stephen and Chris so well at the beginning of the show. A book ending it with two really sort of, and I find you very spiritual, very open, and very sort of down to earth and very welcoming in your work. So I just think it's all wonderful, and thank you so much. Now, for those who have been watching us recently, we have started doing takeover shows. Dudley, our first ever takeover host. What a fantastic show that was. And I think we checked the stats the other day, and I think on LinkedIn alone, we had 500 people go back and watch that show, which was just absolutely incredible. LinkedIn seems to be our biggest reach at the moment, and it's great to have so many people joining us. But we do have a new takeover host in our chat tonight, and it is Faye. So Faye, let us know what we're doing on the 6th of December and what your show is going to be about.
Yeah, so I'm joining somebody else, the lovely Amelia, and we're going to be talking about neurodiversity. So I was diagnosed with ADHD 10, 11 months ago, and my life has just changed just tenfold, honestly, since my diagnosis. So I can't wait to come on and just talk ADHD. I'm going to be sat out with my fidget toys, and it's going to be ace. Yeah.
And it's something that we do need to be talking about more and more. These things that people are living with that we just don't, or I'm not aware of. And I do think the pandemic has brought a lot of it out, because with us all living on our own and not being able to access anything, we've all noticed things within ourselves that actually maybe we wouldn't have noticed had we been going out and about. So really looking forward to the 6th of December. Everyone, please do come and join Faye and Amelia. It will be a great show. Mark, I'm going to hand over to you.
Helps if I'm not on mute. Very conscious of time. We're going to do one more pre-record that we have got, and then I'm going to come back to each of the guests just to do a quick fire tip of you all, words of wisdom before we close off the show. So we're going to hear from Jasmeet, who has sent us her video.
Hi, I'm Jasmine and I have a couple of low-cost but very effective self-care tips for you. So number one, go outside. Spend time outside in the fresh air, whether it's 10 minutes, whether it's half an hour. You decide how long you want to spend out there, but go out and spend time in the fresh air. It has a much bigger impact than most people will ever realise or give credit to. Number two, reach out to your friends and family. Humans are built for community. They are built to be part of community, and whether you want to go spend time with your friends and family, or if you feel like you don't have enough time or you're too tired, just have a phone call with them. Sometimes having a phone call can be the best thing ever. And number three, and this is one that's probably not spoken about enough, but do something where you play and you have fun. So much of the way that society is currently wired is, what can you do to improve as a person? What can you do to improve as an employee? What can you do to improve as a manager, as a team player, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, whatever it is? But you still need to rest, and rest is relaxation and doing things with people that you love, but rest is also play. Like, when we were children, we used to spend so much time playing, whether that's with Lego or arts and crafts or drawing, painting, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, think about the hobbies that you had when you were 10, things that you used to enjoy and that you kind of haven't really gone back to for a long time. Maybe they fall into the wayside, maybe you don't feel like you have enough time, but go do something fun. And this is backed up by science as well. So there's a lot of research which shows that when you take time to stop, to do something which is fun, which is play and creative, and not with the intention of trying to, not with the intention of self-development, then you actually increase your creativity and you relax more. So good luck and thank you.
Some great tips there, and spot on. We are social creatures, and actually I know that stats were released this week, I think it might have been today, around the amount of people that don't have that social interaction and how that's impacted on mental health. It's something massive. I love that she touched on toys and things we did as kids, and actually it's one great thing about having children is that you can relive your younger days. Adam told me about Pokemon. She did talk about Lego, do love a bit of Lego, so just there. My kids aren't allowed to touch that one, so. Quick fire, words of wisdom. Who should we start with first? Let's come to Lucy. We'll start with you.
Okay, so I've just written on my little post-it note here so I don't forget. Prioritize you. You are worthy of it.
Thank you very much. Nicola, I'm just going to go around my screen.
Look after your basic needs. If there's no fuel in your car, it's not going to run. So with no fuel in yourself, you're not going to work to your full potential.
Lee?
Talk to yourself like you would do someone you love.
Dudley?
Work on your human skills of communication, empathy, and self-care and awareness.
And last but not least, Faye.
Make sure you go outside at least once a day. I don't always do that.
These are all just absolutely great, and I just want to come back. They're all brilliant, and they are all things that we should take away. I just want to come back to Lee's quite quickly, and it is talk to yourself like you would talk to somebody you love. The amount of times I stand in the mirror and go, "God, you're fat." Would I say that to my mum or my sister or my boyfriend? I wouldn't. So why do I say it to myself? Lee, that is something super, super important that everyone needs to hear. Amanda, taking a walk without my phone is good for me, but it takes a big discussion with the voices in my head to make it happen. They tell me to take it, and I have to tell them to pipe down, out of the house, and no distractions is great for me. 100%. We've been led to believe that we need them with us at all times. We don't. Big secret, we don't. You also don't need to change your phone every 2 years. You know, I'm just going to throw that out there as well. You know, they won't be obsolete. Mark, I know you've got 100 top tips and whatever, but final words from yourself. What would you say to people?
Yeah, I try to think of something that hasn't been said already. And I think one thing that we did touch on was around partners. And obviously, I'm married, I've got 3 kids, and actually learning that it's okay to do your own thing and to go off with your friends and actually leave your partner and the kids doing something else, and allowing your partner to have that time as well, but just communicating about actually what it is that you need and why. And, you know, like this show, for example, you know, I do this every Tuesday, and although it's work, I don't see it as work. I see it as a really good thing. And, you know, it helps me unwind, and I love, you know, learning from the guests each week, and I find it fulfilling. So actually, just doing that for me is actually good self-care. So yeah, it looks different for everyone. So, and that's the thing, isn't it? It's what works for you. Any top tips for you, Adam?
Well, I was going to say what works for Toby is a forehand massage.
Yes,
so if you want a forehand massage, you've got the go-ahead from Toby there.
I'm sure there's many of people who will volunteer for that forehand massage, Toby.
I saw Nicola's eyes perk up there. Forehand massage.
She's got very red.
No, I just want to follow my top tip from what you were just finishing off with, saying there that it looks different for everyone. And this is what I always say about innovation. We're all driving different vehicles. So as much as we don't want to reinvent the wheel, someone else's wheel will not fit your bike, will not fit your car. So don't be so hung up on doing what someone else is doing. Look at how you can influence your own life by what people are doing. You know, find out what suits you, find out what matters to you, and have no regrets. We live once, we die once. Have a bloody good time whilst we do it. And that is what matters the most. And talk to yourself like you would talk to somebody you love. Lee, I love it. I love it. Oh, I can't believe we're only 10 minutes over tonight. We could have gone on for hours talking about this. Thank you all so much for joining us. It's been honestly wonderful. For those videos that we've got that we've not managed to get through, we are going to share them all on social media over the next couple of days as well. So please do check out on there, and obviously come back to the show for catching up on those top tips. Mark, next week, I believe we're talking about the care register, is it?
We are indeed, yes. I'm really looking forward to it. So we obviously touched on this at the care show this year. But yeah, we're going to hear from some people about what the care register is planning to look like, and some from other guests with their views. So, and I think one thing that is worth noting that there is a steering group, and not all of us are for the register. So there are pros and cons of it, and there's for and against. So yeah, make sure you tune in. There's a survey out at the moment that we'll share on our social medias. But yeah, please do come join in the conversation and share your thoughts and opinions on what the register should look like.
And it really will be interactive. We do want to hear what you all are going to say. So come along, you know, sound off in the comments. Tell us it's a rubbish idea. Tell us it's a great idea. You know, do whatever. Just tell us what's going on in those comments. And we will see you next week. Or if we don't see you next week, we will see you at our Screaming Therapy Day, which we are all going to attend because it's going to be blooming awesome. Night, God bless everyone. Look after yourselves. Take care and self.
Thank you very much, everyone. Good night.